You are 17 years old. Your father died in debt. Your mother died before you ever left London. Nobody is waiting for you at home because there is no longer a home to wait in. You think you're joining a trading company. Within 40 years, you will help rule millions. But right now, you know none of that. Right now, you're standing on a London dock, holding everything you own in one canvas bag. The ship in front of you is bound for India. The voyage will take 6 months. Many who board it will never come home. You board anyway, because in England you're nothing. No land, no title, no future, and no one left who would notice if you stayed or if you went. The East India Company is the one door open to a poor boy with nothing left to lose. You step onto the ship. You do not know it yet, but you will never be poor again. You also do not know what that will cost you. The voyage nearly kills you. Fever sweeps the ship. Men die in their hammocks and are dropped into the sea. You survive on hard biscuit and luck. When the coast of India finally appears, half the men who left London are gone. You step onto the dock at a company port. The heat hits you like a wall. The smell of spice and salt and rot fills your lungs. You are a dock worker, the lowest rank there is. Your job is your back. You haul crates of pepper, cotton, saltpeter, and silt from ship to warehouse. 12 hours a day under a sun that wants you dead. Your privilege is small. Food, a roof, a wage that is more than you ever earned in England. But the cost is your body. Men collapse beside you. Disease takes them faster than the work does. The company does not mourn. The company replaces. Your first moral lesson arrives fast. You watch the crates you carry. Inside is wealth beyond imagining. Outside, in the streets, are people who grew and wove and dug it all. They are paid almost nothing. The gap between what the company takes and what it gives back is enormous. You notice it, then you make yourself stop noticing it. Because you did not survive that ship to feel sorry. You survived a rise. Your danger is the climate itself. 1 in 3 Europeans dies within the first year. You watch the calendar. You count the months. You wonder if you will see the next monsoon. But one day a company officer walks the dock with a ledger. He needs men who can read and write. Most dock workers cannot. You can. Your mother taught you letters before she died. It was the only thing she left you, and you have carried it across an ocean without even realizing it was worth more than the bag on your back. The officer points at you. Can you keep accounts? You stand straight. Your heart pounds. What happens to a poor boy who says yes? You become a writer. It sounds humble. It is not. A writer is the bottom rung of the company's officer class. You are no longer labor. You are staff. You trade the dock for a desk inside the factory. Not a factory of machines. A factory is the company's fortified trading post. Warehouses, offices, soldiers. A small walled world of British power on Indian soil. Your privilege is enormous compared to before. Better food, quarters inside the walls, a salary on the books, and most of all, a path. Every great man in the company started exactly here. There is one more thing waiting at that desk, though you do not understand yet how much it will come to matter. The rider beside you is a thin, easy-smiling young man named Thomas. He came from Bristol with nothing, same as you. He offers you half his bread on your first morning before either of you has said a word about where the other is from. It is the first kindness anyone has shown you since the dock in London. Your responsibility is the ledger. You record every transaction, every bale of cloth, every coin. The entire trade flows through ink and paper, and now some of that ink is yours. Thomas works the desk across from yours. He is not as quick with numbers as you are, and he says so himself, laughing about it, asking you to check his columns before he submits them. You start doing it without being asked. He starts saving you the last of his tea without being asked either. Neither of you calls it friendship. You do not have a word for what you have not had before. Your danger is the temptation built into the job. Here you learn the secret that runs everything. The company pays its officers almost nothing. The real money comes from private trade. On the side, Using company ships and company contacts, you can buy and sell for yourself. The company looks the other way. This is how poor boys become rich men. But it is also how the corruption begins. The line between company business and personal profit does not blur. It was never drawn in the first place. Your new enemy is competition. There are other writers, all young, all hungry, all watching for the same promotions. One of them, a sharp-eyed man named Hale, decides you are in his way. He spreads small lies about your accounts. You catch the error he planted before your superior does. You correct it in front of everyone. Hale's face goes white. Thomas claps you on the back afterward, grinning, telling you Hale will never try that again. You believe him. You're starting, cautiously, to believe in a number of things you didn't have words for 6 months ago. You have made your first rival. You have also made your first friend and your first impression. Your superior notices the young writer who does not make mistakes. And in the next room, a senior officer is talking about a vacancy upcountry, far from the coast, deep in the interior, where the real bargains are made face to face. It is dangerous out there. Fevers, bandits, local rulers with armies. But the man who goes upcountry comes back rich. If he comes back at all, would you take that risk? You take it. You become a factor. This is the rank where you stop counting other men's deals and start making your own. A factor goes out and buys cotton from weavers, indigo from farmers, spices from inland markets. You negotiate. You set prices. You move real money. Your privilege is independence and wealth. Your private trade explodes. For the first time, you have savings that could buy a house in England. You are fine cloth now. Servants attend you. The boy from the London dock would not recognize the man in the mirror. You request Thomas as your second when the posting allows it. He has no head for negotiation, and you both know it. But he has something else. He notices things you miss when you're staring too hard at a ledger. He notices which weavers are afraid and which are merely tired. He tells you the difference matters. You start listening to him on the things numbers cannot measure. Your responsibility is the relationship between the company and the people who actually make everything. And this is where the moral cost grows teeth. You meet the weavers, whole villages of them, skilled families who have woven cloth for generations. The company wants their work cheap, very cheap, so the contracts you offer are hard. You advance the weaver's money, and that money becomes a chain. Once a weaver takes the advance, he must sell only to you at your price forever. You watch families work themselves into debt that never ends. You tell yourself this is just trade. A part of you knows it is something else. Thomas is the only one who says it out loud. Quietly, over a fire one night on the road, he tells you he doesn't like what the contracts do to people. You don't argue with him. You don't agree with him either. You just let the silence sit there because you both know which one of you is right and neither of you knows what to do about it yet. Your danger is the road itself. Travel inland and you face bandits, rival traders, and rulers who can seize your goods on a whim. On one journey, your caravan is stopped by armed men. You talk your way out, but you feel how thin the company's power is this far from its guns. Thomas stands beside you the whole time, his hand not quite steady, and does not run. Your new enemy is a local merchant prince who controls the cloth in your district. He does not want a company factor squeezing his weavers. He has his own armed men. He sends you a warning. You report it to the factory, and the factory's answer changes everything you understand about where this is going. The company will not back down. The company will send soldiers. You realize the company is no longer just buying and selling. The company is starting to rule, and you're about to rise into the rank where that becomes your job. You become a merchant. Now you run whole streams of trade. Multiple factors report to you. You command the flow of goods across an entire region. Your wealth is no longer the savings of a clever clerk. It is a fortune. Your privilege is real power for the first time. You sit at the table where decisions are made. Your voice carries weight in the factory council. Indian rulers send you gifts to win your favor. You have arrived. Thomas rises with you, though never quite to your level. He doesn't want it. He tells you. And you believe him because Thomas has never once asked you for anything you didn't offer first. He runs one of your smaller trading posts now, content, writing you letters full of bad jokes and good news. He is, by now, the only person in India or England who knows you as anything other than your rank. Your responsibility is no longer just goods. It is policy. The company's wars have begun. To protect trade, the company raises armies. Indian soldiers, called sepoys, drilled and paid by the company. European officers command them. And the cost of these armies is paid for by the trade you control. Trade pays for soldiers. Soldiers seize land. Land produces taxes. Taxes pay for more soldiers. The wheel turns faster every year. You are not just a merchant anymore. You are a gear in an engine of conquest. Your moral cost rises sharply. A famine strikes your region. Crops fail. People starve in the roads. And yet the company still demands its revenue. Grain that could feed the dying is shipped out for profit. You see the bodies. You smell the death. You also see the ledgers. The company's profits do not fall during the famine. In some places, they rise. You sign the papers anyway. You tell yourself you are one man. You tell yourself refusing would change nothing. But you remember the weavers. You remember the dock. And the boy your mother taught to read feels very far away. Your new enemy is the conscience you keep trying to bury. It does not stay buried. Your danger is the battlefield. The company's wars are real wars now. And as a merchant, you help fund and supply them. When a campaign goes wrong, fortunes vanish overnight. Yours nearly does. But the campaign succeeds. The company defeats a regional ruler. And in the treaty that follows, the company gains something it has never had before. The right to collect taxes from millions of people. The company is no longer a trader that happens to have soldiers. The company is becoming a government, and it will need men to run it. Men who have proven they can put profit above everything. Men exactly like you. What would you become if a corporation handed you a province? You become a senior merchant. You are now among the most important company men in India. You command vast trade, vast revenue, and the trust of the directors back in London. Your fortune is the kind that builds country estates and buys seats in Parliament. Your privilege is access to the highest levels of power. You advise governors. You shape contracts worth more than entire kingdoms once held. When you walk into a room, men who rule millions listen. Your responsibility is the system itself. The company has won a great victory. After defeating a major ruler, the company gains the right to collect the land taxes of a huge and wealthy region. This is the turning point in the entire story of the company. You are part of administering it. And here the moral cost becomes impossible to look away from. The company is now a merchant and the tax collector. It buys goods from people it also taxes. It sets the rules and profits from both sides. There is no balance left. The revenue demands are brutal. Tax collectors squeeze the countryside dry. When another famine comes, the suffering is beyond anything you imagined on the dock. Millions die. You read the reports. The numbers are so large, they stop feeling like people. You force yourself to remember that each number was a person. Then a letter arrives that makes the number a person whether you force yourself or not. Thomas's outpost sits in the heart of the famine district. He stayed to help distribute what relief the company allowed, because Thomas was never the kind of man who could watch people starve from a safe distance and call it policy. The letter is not from him. It is from a clerk who served under him, informing you that Thomas took the fever nursing the dying in a relief shelter he was never ordered to open, and that he did not survive it. You read the letter twice. You did not believe it the second time any more than the first. You think of bread offered before either of you had said a word about where the other was from. You think of a hand that wasn't quite steady, standing beside you on a road full of armed men anyway. The company does not pause for you. There is no ceremony for a dead writer who never rose past running a minor post. There's only the next ledger, the next harvest report, the next set of numbers that are people whether you remember it or not. You go back to work because the alternative is to stop entirely, and you no longer remember how to be a man who stops. Your new enemy is London itself. Word of the company's wealth and its abuses is reaching England. People are asking how a trading company came to rule provinces and command armies. Critics call it corruption. Critics call it plunder. Some of that criticism lands on men like you. Your danger is the investigation. Parliament begins to look closely at the company. Fortunes made in India are now suspect. Men who came home rich are dragged before committees and asked how they earned it. You have a choice. Cling to the trade you know, or step fully into the new role the company is inventing. The role of ruler. The company needs men to govern the lands it has seized, to collect the revenue, to administer justice, to hold the territory. It offers you the next step. You stop being a merchant entirely. You become an officer of an empire. There's no one left to write to about it. You become a collector. This is the rank where the mask falls away. A collector does not trade. A collector governs. You are placed over a district of perhaps 1 million people. You collect the taxes. You enforce the law. You hold the power of the company over every life in your territory. Your privilege is the power of a king without the crown. Your word is law across your district. Soldiers obey you. Judges answer to you. Villages rise and fall on your decisions. The poor boy from the London dock now rules more people than the king of many small nations. Your responsibility is everything. Revenue, justice, order, roads, punishment, the land and everyone on it. And the moral weight is now crushing. You set the tax rates. Set them too high and families lose their land. Set them too low and London accuses you of weakness. So you set them high. You always set them high. The company demands it. You watch your decisions ripple outward. A family loses its farm because of a number you wrote. A village empties because of a policy you enforced. You are no longer a witness to the human cost. You are its author. Your new enemy is resistance. The people of your district do not accept company rule quietly. There are protests. There is anger. There is eventually revolt. When the revolt comes, you must crush it. The company gives you soldiers and expects results. The reprisals are harsh. You give the orders. That night, you cannot sleep. You think about the 17-year-old who boarded a ship believing he was joining a trading company. You think about a canvas bag that held everything he owned and a friend who once offered half his bread without asking your name first. You wonder when exactly you became this. You cannot find the moment. There was no single day, just 1,000 small choices, each one easy, each one profitable, each one carrying you here. And somewhere in those choices, the one person who might have stopped you gently, with nothing more than a quiet word over a fire, is 3 years in the ground in a famine district you sign papers for. Your danger is the empire's growing instability. Rule by a corporation is rule without limit, and the cracks are showing. Rebellion spreads. The whole system you serve is more fragile than its power suggests. But your skill in holding your district has been noticed at the very top. There's a higher office, a seat above all the collectors, a man who governs not one district, but an entire presidency. Millions upon millions of lives. The company offers it to you. What does it cost a man to govern an empire he helped build on suffering? You're about to find out. You become a governor. You now rule one of the great presidencies of British India. Not a district, a vast region the size of a nation. Every collector beneath you answers to you. Every soldier, every judge, every rupee of revenue. Your privilege is near total power over one of the richest territories on earth. You live in a palace. You command armies. Kings and princes negotiate with you as an equal. Your name is known in London and feared across India. The boy with the canvas bag now holds the fate of millions in his hands. Your responsibility is the survival of the whole system. You manage wars against rival powers. You sign treaties that swallow entire kingdoms into company control. You make decisions that redraw the map. And the moral cost is now the cost of an empire. You order campaigns that kill thousands. You annex states whose only crime was weakness. You enforce a system that drains the wealth of an entire region across the sea to England. You have stopped pretending it is trade. It is conquest. It always was. You simply could not see it from the dock. Your new enemy is history's judgment, beginning to form even in your own lifetime. In London, the voices against the company grow louder. Reformers, politicians, writers, they name the famines. They name the plunder. They name the corruption. And they begin to ask whether a private company should be allowed to rule an empire at all. You feel the ground shifting. Your danger is the empire turning on itself. A great rebellion rises, larger than any before. Soldiers and civilians alike rise against company rule. The violence is terrible on every side. For a time, it seems the whole company may fall. You hold the line. At enormous cost, the rebellion is crushed. But something has broken that cannot be repaired. The world has seen what corporate empire produces, and the world will not allow it to continue unchecked. There is one office left above yours, the single highest position the company ever created. The man who rules over all the presidencies, the supreme authority across the whole of British India. You're summoned to take it. You accept. You have reached the very top, and the top is where you will finally understand what you have done. You become Governor General, the highest rank in the entire East India Company, the supreme ruler of British India. Hundreds of millions of people fall under your authority. No officer of any corporation in human history has ever held power like this. You did it. The 17-year-old on the London dock, the dock worker hauling crates in the killing heat, the writer at his ledger. That boy climbed every single rank, and he reached the summit. Your privilege is power beyond what kings command. Armies larger than those of European nations answer to you. Your decisions shape the lives of a fifth of all the people on earth. Your fortune is immense. Your name will be in every history book ever written about the age. Your responsibility is the empire entire, and from the summit, you can finally see the whole of it. You see the line that runs from the crate on your back to the throne you now sit on. Every rung of your climb was built on someone else's loss. The weaver in debt, the farmer taxed into ruin, the village emptied by famine while grain sailed for profit, the rebels you crushed. You spent 40 years telling yourself you were one man, that refusing would change nothing, that it was only trade. From up here, you can see it was never only trade. It was the largest transfer of wealth and power the world had ever seen, and you were not a witness to it. You were one of its architects. Somewhere in a storeroom you have not opened in decades, there is a canvas bag. Empty now, its straps long since gone stiff with disuse. You kept it without ever deciding to keep it, the way a man keeps the one object that remembers who he used to be. It is the only thing left from the boy who boarded that ship. The bread is long gone. The fire on the road inland is long gone. The bad jokes in a clerk's careless letters are long gone. Everyone who knew you before the rank knew you is gone, and the last of them died in a famine you signed the papers for, helping people you were both told did not matter enough to help. Your final enemy is the verdict of history. The company has become one of the most powerful organizations that ever existed. A corporation with its own army, its own territory, its own empire. It ruled millions. It moved the wealth of a subcontinent across the sea. It made men like you into the masters of nations. But power that vast cannot hide its cost. The famines, the plunder, the wars of conquest, the corruption woven into the system from the very first ledger you ever kept. The world saw it, and the world's judgment came. In the end, the company grew too powerful, too brutal, and too corrupt to be allowed to continue. Its rule was taken away and placed under the crown. The greatest corporate empire in history ended in disgrace. You sit at the top of all of it. You have everything you ever climbed toward, and you finally understand what you traded for it. You stepped onto a ship with one canvas bag and a friend's bread was the first kindness you had been shown in months. 40 years later, you ruled millions. But somewhere between the dock and the throne, you lost the person who boarded that ship, and the only one who ever truly knew him. You came to India seeking fortune. You left as part of an empire, and history never forgave it. Neither in the end did you.